Sedimentary rocks. This is the second type or the second classification of rock. Now, when you were talking about sedimentary rocks, you were talking about them being formed from broken fragments of other rocks. They are all held together by cement. And I've got an example here. I like to call this the ugly rock. It's also known as conglomerate, which is a picture that you see here. Minerals in sedimentary rocks that you are going to see, a couple of examples here is calcite, halite, and I've got this is rock salt that you're looking at that contains these minerals. So how are sedimentary rocks formed? Well, they are formed from a series of processes that happen over time. Now, of course, this isn't something that's going to happen in a week. Erosion, deposition, compaction, and sedimentation, and I'll go through those.
Called sedimentary rock. Now, sediment, that's silt, mud, goop in rivers. So if you have a river and it's washing sand, mud, or silt, sediment, downstream, well, eventually the river may dry up or drain away, leaving the sediment, the sand, silt, or mud. Now, this sand would be heavy. It crushes down on itself like this, squeezing itself together, till eventually, after the water is completely drained away, after a few thousand years, you end up with a rock like this one. See the layers? Sedimentary rock often has layers in it because that's the way sand washes downstream in a river.
Alright, so here is the Burke sort of words to help you out with the sedimentary process. So if you're talking about erosion, what that means is to get carried away, usually with water, sometimes rain. Deposit means to drop. Compact, another way is to say it squeezes it together. And sediment is exactly what it looks like, and that's glue. Well, of course, it's the rock version. So how do rocks break? I mean, they seem pretty darn indestructible. Well, that's actually not the case. Rocks actually can break in many different ways, and the weather has a lot to do with that. Water, temperature, wind, and ice can actually split rocks, and of course, glacier movements as well. So all of these things are going to break up rocks. So let's talk about erosion. So erosion is definitely a destructive force. It can include wind as well as water. And I'm showing you a big valley here that was formed from water. And it moves sediments from lakes and rivers to oceans. And if you have plants, they can actually slow down erosions because their roots will actually hold on to the soil. We actually use that here on the farm. So if we have a place that gets an awful lot of water so we don't lose all of our dirt, we actually plant different kinds of plants there. We're actually going to plant some blackberries out front to hold on to that soil for us. Humans can increase or decrease this process, which is just what I was telling you about, how we can actually manipulate our land and help it so that erosion doesn't actually come into play. So hang tight, watch this quick video clip. I think it's about 40 seconds. Oh, it must be Dublin. He must be seeing the UPS guy.
At the surface, people break down the Earth's rocks and put them to good use. Forces of nature also take their toll on rocks at the Earth's surface. Wind, water, and gravity are always at work to wear down or erode the rocks around us. The results can be very dramatic. But for all this destruction, new rocks are constantly forming. Some particles of rock get deposited and hardened into sedimentary rock. Others get buried, compacted, heated, and recrystallized beneath the Earth's surface.
Hutton looked at this erosion and realised it must happen not just in Scotland, but across the whole planet. It appeared that, look at this rock face, you see there's distinct layers of rock, all of them subtly different, hundreds of them. What Hutton realised was that these bands of sediment were laid down at different times, flushed in from rivers and deposited one on top of the other. Just builds up over time, year after year, slowly compacting into rock.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video clip so you get to see a little bit about what erosion and the sedimentary process can do. Alright, summary time. I'd like you to list 3 kinds of minerals found in sedimentary rocks, and then I'd like you to please describe the process of erosion. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in class.